Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. It's team news time as we look ahead to game week 3. Yes, it's the third game week of the season already. My name is Joe and as ever I am joined by Fantasy Football Scout editor Neale to go through those press conferences and team news developments. Neale, welcome. How are you?
Not too bad, Joe. Yeah, another Friday deadline
Yeah.
this afternoon, so it's all hands on deck with the team news and that. But we've got everything, I think, bar one, which is
Yes.
Burnley.
Yes,
They've
I've
been
just
a bit problematic this season.
I just loaded up as many as I could here, and lots of surprises. Some people midweek were saying, what more can we learn from the press conferences today? And plenty, because there was a lot of speculation during the week, and we've had some confirmation on quite a few of those. And particularly with a particular Spurs player, not in the way we thought it was going to go. But we'll come to that in a bit. Before we move on, I understand you've got some words to say from one of our sponsors.
No, I haven't.
Okay, you haven't.
No,
that's fine. We just withdraw that. Well, do you know what?
News to me.
Do you know what? I'm going to say this is sponsored by Brighton and Hove Albion, who are fantastic. Okay. Meanwhile, welcome to all those who are joining us in the live chat nice and early. Good few hundred of you so far. Do remember to press that like button. Do remember to subscribe as well, so you can keep up to date with all our valuable content throughout the week. Welcome to Ishan, Jack, Trust John, I will do, Barry, Exploring, FPL Alexander Arnold, Joe Bob, Wig Beanie, Sean, Norman, Stanley Fletcher, good to see he's out, Sam Garner, FPL Rank Chaser, Hardcore Catchers, FPL Marshall, Heather, and many, many more. Sorry, I can't get all your names in. There's so many of you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining in the live chat. Let's give you that team news, and we're going to start with tonight's game. Chelsea against Luton. Lots of interest in Chelsea players. People seem to think they've become good this week, but let's see. What shape are Chelsea in anyway for this clash?
They've got quite a few injuries. I think we're into double figures for red flags. And Kunku, James, Fofana, Bettinelli, Chalobah, we all knew about anyway. But added to that this week are Chukwuemeka and Mudryk as well. They're both out of this one, as is Lavia as well, the new signing who that's more match fitness. He's going to need a couple of weeks to build up. Broja's back in training, Badie Shields back in training as well, but again, this comes too soon for those two. So I think that's 10 red flags for Chelsea this week, which makes the lineup a little easier to predict.
Yes, it is, because there's not many of them left. Jackson inevitably will start. He lots of interest in him, but talk of getting perhaps another striker in, possibly even Lukaku coming back into the fold, and of course Broja down the line there could be soon. But looks pretty safe to start this time. Chilwell, you would imagine, would start as well. Chilwell came off just before we move on to Luton. Chilwell came off last week, didn't he, when Mudryk came on? Was that right? So is that some kind of, have I just invented a thing where Mudryk and Chilwell can't play at the same time?
Well, they were effectively playing in the same position last week, because Chilwell was ostensibly out of position on the left wing.
Okay.
But Mudryk's injured this week. Okay. I do wonder whether he'll just stick Chilwell back to left back, even if it is a lopsided back four. Chilwell with a lot of attacking license, even in a back four.
Okay.
But he might just stick him back to left back, and he could bring in Madison on the left, or even Madueke on the other side. So he's got options.
Okay. As for Luton as well, we've only seen one game with them, a loss against Brighton, so we don't really know what sort of Premier League side they are at the moment. But what shape are they in for this?
No, I saw one of the most shoddiest bits of punditry I've ever seen on Sky Sports News, where they put up a picture of Luton's stats this season.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, they're ranked 19th and 20th for like shots or something like that. They did one game fewer than 18 other teams.
Yeah, everyone was pointing out in the chat. They've only played one game. You're comparing them against teams that have played twice.
Absolutely abysmal. Yeah.
Very poor.
She's shocking bit of punditry there. As for Luton themselves, they've got one player back over the last fortnight. That's Reece Burke, who's a centre half. I think he's one of the 4 million brigade. They've got a few of those. Still out though are Potts also and Clark as well. They're out for a little while yet with 3 absentees. Ross Bartley could feature though against his old club. He's in the mix according to Rob Edwards.
Really?
A fortnight of training with his new club. So,
I hope he's been freshly squeezed after his picture was taken when he joined Luton in their orange with an orange backdrop and his south of France orange glow to him. But yeah, I thought he was going to be in, I don't know, Charlie and Chocolate Factory or something. He was very orange. Okay, Bournemouth against Tottenham. I'm going to start with the away side first because surprising news. We all saw James Madison carted off on his crutches and his protective boot. Lots of talk during the week that it wasn't too bad, but it could keep him out for this weekend. But there's news, isn't there, with James Madison? Perhaps people have been too hasty to remove him.
Yeah, positive news. He's trained today. Now, he was absent for much of this week in training, even yesterday, actually, as recently as yesterday, he wasn't pictured on the training ground. But Postecoglou said had his presser today, and he said that Madison's trained unrestricted on Friday. He says, at this stage, it looks like he will be available, but I will assess how he feels. So not quite a full removal of the flag.
Okay.
There's a thinking there when I will see how he feels and all that kind of stuff. That's enough doubt for FPL.
Okay.
Keep the flag on. But positive news. So if he's not, I think he'd probably make the trip, but he has missed a week of training. So whether that's enough to set him back, a start, he may be on the bench. But certainly, if you're delaying the transfer by a week, I'm looking at him for Gameweek 4. Yeah, he should be fine by then.
Yeah, I mean, I took those quotes to be that he it was as a precaution. He didn't train on Thursday, but did train today.
Yeah. Postecoglou said he could have trained yesterday if he really pushed it. So positive.
Okay. I'm a James Madison. There'll be other people in the live chat as well, listening and watching who are as well. I'm gonna start him. I'm certainly not removing him, but I think he's good enough as a player, and I think that he'll either start and play or he won't play at all. I mean, why risk him for 30 minutes when if you're going to risk him at all, you risk him from the start and perhaps take him off towards the end, I think. But that's the gamble.
Unless you're trailing 2-1 with 30 minutes to go.
That could be. You never know. It is Spurs as well. But that's the sort of gamble you take in FPL every time, every week, every player, every decision. So the gamble I'm taking is he's going to play or not at all, and I hope the first sub comes on. Meanwhile, Bournemouth, let's not forget the home sides. How are they looking at a Spurs visit?
They are okay. I think not too bad. In terms of new stuff, there's nothing new. Lewis could be back. So he's the only one of the injured contingent who is possibly going to be available the next week. They still have 7 players out, to be fair. I did say not too bad. It's more that they've not got anything new. So Adams and Scott are the 2 new big money signings. They're both out for some time still. Smith, Fredericks, Tavernier, Macondes and Dango as well. They're all out. So 7 red flags, and then Cook possibly returning. Okay,
let's move on. Another surprise. This time from the Arsenal press conference. Arsenal hosting Fulham. What did Mikel Arteta say that surprised us today?
He said that Gabriel Jesus is ready to go. Ooh. So he's not just been back in training this week, which we saw the pictures. I think it was yesterday or the day before, but he's now past fit for selection. He hasn't actually been out that long. I think it was the beginning of August, wasn't it, when he was first flagged? He needed a little procedure. So he's only been out maybe 3 weeks, not too long. Arteta said, let's see if he's ready to start when asked about that question. So I do think probably introduced from the bench, I think, for this one, especially given the way Nketiah's been playing. That's what happened when he came back from his last injury, albeit that was a much longer affair. Jesus is back. Timber's still out, Elneny's still out. Tomiyasu's suspended, which obviously raises the prospect, if not guarantees, the prospect of Gabriel coming back into the starting 11. Now, obviously, Arteta didn't give any indication on that. He never does as to who's going to start. He did say that he's a really important player for us.
Yeah.
But that was more in response to a question about whether he was off elsewhere, subject to transfer bids. So nothing to be read into that quote. So the two options he's got now: start Gabriel alongside Saliba with White and Zinchenko as fullbacks. So it probably hinges on Zinchenko's fitness, or keep the same 3/4 of the same back four, partly inverting from right back, White and Saliba in the middle, and then QEO on the left.
Okay, there's enough doubt there,
There's
basically.
enough doubt.
And the quote, "He is a really important player for us," is utterly immaterial for FPL players, because if a really important players don't get benched twice in a row. On the back of speculation, they're about to move to Saudi Arabia, which apparently he is not, but nevertheless, speculation is there. Doubt, not good for us. Fulham, how are they set up here? I suppose their gameplay is going to all hinge on the fitness of Palhinha, who's crucial to protecting that back line.
He certainly is. Yeah, the stats with and without him last season were pretty stark. He's fit though. He came on last weekend as a substitute against Brentford, and he's trained all week, so fully expect to see him back in the starting 11. Again, I think he's been out around about 4 or 5 weeks, so not like a massive absence. I'm sure he'll start. Other than that, Ream's suspended for the 2 bookable offences last weekend. Bassey's going to start in his stead. Silva's confirmed that. And then the only injury concern is Willian, who's a slight doubt for the trip to Arsenal.
Rightio. Lots of questions in the live chat about teams. This is more about team news, but we do have a deadline stream coming up after this as well that David is hosting. Feel free to leap in there, ask your questions away in there as well. There's going to be lots of there. The questions, for example, Jackson Gray is in the chat, has asked, should he take a hit to take Madison out for Sterling? I personally wouldn't.
No.
And it doesn't look like Neale would either. But you never know. But I don't think that would be a very good move, because you probably want Madison back. And Raheem Sterling, I'm not sure he's done enough. But anyway, deadline stream, more questions like that. Let's move on. Brentford against Crystal Palace. I'm Mbomo-less at the moment, and it's costing me in the rankings in FPL. He will obviously play, but you would imagine there's no news about him. He's fit to go. But who else is or isn't going to play at Brentford?
Well, they've lost 2 midfielders this week. Neither of them really first-team starters anyway. That's De Silva and Baptiste. They're going to be out for months. Of course, Tony's suspended as well. Ben May is someone who you see regularly in the Brentford starting 11 when he's fit. He's not fit for this one. He's got a calf injury. He missed out in game weeks 1 and 2 as well. But he's going to start next Tuesday in the EFL Cup, so he comes back into the thinking from game week 4.
Okay. Rightio. This clash is notoriously low scoring.
It is.
So I think I was reading from your own words in the scout picks. It's been 0-0. Only one goal or so in each of these.
0-0, 0-0, 1-1, 1-1.
Right. Okay. That fills me with slight hope that Mbomo won't score too many. And Crystal Palace. This is the news they've all been waiting for. Nathan Ferguson, is he available?
I'm not even sure, because I stopped talking about him now. It's such a redundant exercise. Okay. He's not, as I say, he's not even listed in FPL now. Even they've stopped pricing him up.
Well, I'm going to reveal he's unavailable.
Yeah. He's been training, I think, with the under-23, so I think it won't be. We never see him. Never mind a while.
What else there?
There was a bit of team news. Will Hughes is back next week. Matthias Franca, who's a new prodigy winger from Brazil, who's obviously Zaha replacement. He's not got a time frame on his recovery yet. Okay. They're going to have a scan, I think, the end of this month on his back, and then take it from there. Apart from that, Franca Hughes and Alicia, of course, the newly penned Alicia, who signed a contract, but he's still out.
Rightio. This is the Garden Centre clash, Everton against Wolves. Is Calvert-Lewin available for Everton?
No, he is not. No, he's belongs to the Ferguson club, doesn't he? Of more out than in, and he is out of this one. He's got I think it's a cheekbone injury sustained last weekend, and they're going to have a scan today, actually. But we do know that he's definitely out of game week 3, and then we'll get news probably next week as to how long he's going to be out. But he's out. Iwobi's out as well. He's been a key player for them. He's out for weeks with a muscular issue. So he joins Neale, Ali, and Seamus Coleman, and Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison, of course, is a new signing from Leeds. He's not fit enough. He had, I think, hip surgery. Okay. And he's recovering, doing individual training, so he's not ready either.
Rightio. Yeah, Everton not looking good up front for Everton at
No.
all. They're going to rely on a Decore goal if they to get anything. I hazard to guess. Wolves, though. Yeah, I mean, Wolves are actually quite good this season so far. It's only been a couple of games. Everyone thought they were destined for the Championship. You never know, though. So, yeah, what shape are they in for this?
Yeah, unlucky. I think in both game weeks really, because certainly in game week one when the better team against Man United, and last week it wasn't really a 4-1. I thought against Brighton they did very well. I think in the first half and racked up quite a lot of XG, if you believe in that sort of thing. The good news from their camp: no injuries to report at all. But Nunes is suspended. He got sent off again for 2 bookable offences last weekend. I suspect we're going to see a lot more of that this season with all the extra bookings for dissent, etc.
Okay, right. Let's move on to more surprises. Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. Some big surprises in the Manchester United camp, especially if you own one of their better defenders. Yeah, what is the news, Manchester United?
Yeah, Malacia's out. Of course, you're not talking about him. You're talking about talking about
Yeah.
Luke Shaw. Yeah, Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. We both were told about those players before today. So Man United put out press releases, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. They're both out for a while. Shaw out for quite a long time, by the sounds of it.
Oh,
I've seen reports in the press saying it's a couple of months. But Ten Hag said today it's going to be longer than what Mount's out for. He could be back, I think, after the international break.
right.
So those two have been added to the list. That includes, Menu, Ahmed Diallo, Malacia, as I've said, Heaton, and Hoyland. However, Hoyland is back in training for the first time today.
Okay.
He's not going to be ready for this weekend's game, but he'll have a full week next week with his teammates and could come into attention in game week 4.
Okay, that is big news if you own Marcus Rashford, who's been playing through the centre. Not as effective.
No.
When he plays out on the left, he's much more effective. So he does require a good centre forward. Martial, of course, can play there, who did play in a 3-0 defeat to Burnley midweek from the Manchester United B team there. But Hoyland could be coming back long term, just as everyone's removing Rashford next week, or indeed this week, he could become effective with Hoyland there, but you never know. Nottingham Forest, Steve Cooper, what's he been saying for injuries? And just for those that don't know, Steve Cooper notoriously is a little edgy with the truth. Sometimes players are injured, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, his latest update was a positive one, so that means there's a crisis behind the scenes. Felipe is back on the grass after a long period out, and as is Ola Aina as well, who missed out in game week 2. He's made a partial return to training, so he could be back. Felipe, I think, has been out for about 3 or 4 months, so not ready yet. Apart from that, I think just Hennessy and Richards who are out, they're very much backup players anyway. So I think they're in rude health. A lot of Cooper's press comments was dedicated to Brennan Johnson, who's subject of a lot of transfer speculation. Much like Arteta with Gabriel, a lot of positive noises coming from Cooper, but money talks, I think, in football, and wouldn't be surprised if he's off somewhere else by the end of the window.
Okay, Brighton against West Ham. Now, midweek, it started to emerge that Enciso had picked up an injury, and it looked to be quite a nasty long-term one in training. But was that rumour confirmed by De Zerbi today?
Certainly was, yes. He's going to be out for a longer period, according to De Zerbi. So much so that De Zerbi said it's sort of changed Brighton's priorities in the transfer market. Now, this is something to definitely keep in mind if you own Pedro. Because in the short term, that's a good thing. Of course, Enciso being out is one less positional rival. Not completely free, because Lallana can play there, of course, amongst others. But De Zerbi says he needs another attacker following the news about Enciso, which makes me think this is going to be very long term for him. So watch that space. You've got another week of the transfer window left.
Ahead of their clash with West Ham, who they have beaten, I think, in the last, I don't know, I want to say 9 or 10 encounters, quite a few encounters. So it's quite keen to see who would start up front. But De Zerbi did actually confirm one of the starters this week.
Yeah, he gives us this information now and again, doesn't he? He tells us 1 or 2 names who are going to start. He's not quite full on Bielsa, but he's the next best thing. Ferguson is going to start. So someone we thought we might have seen before this point. but it's been Welbeck in games 1 and 2. But Ferguson is going to start. We assume in place of Welbeck. I don't think he's started Welbeck and Ferguson yet together. He started Ferguson and Undav and Welbeck and Undav and various other combinations. Undav's now gone, of course. But I don't think we've seen Ferguson and Welbeck.
He has. What he has done though, he has played both together at periods during matches.
During the match, yeah. One of them's come on as a sub, yeah.
One of them's come on, and they have played. So, I mean, given the surprise last week with Pedro benching, it wouldn't surprise me if Welbeck and Ferguson, with Ferguson in that slightly more creative role, did start together. But yes, you would imagine it would be, with Ferguson confirmed start, you would imagine it would be Ferguson and Pedro. That would be logical, but you never know.
No.
So they face West Ham, and so West Ham are going to need all their defenders. They've got a new centre-back from Greece. Will he play, though?
No, he won't. This is Mavropanos, who we've seen before at Arsenal. He's not fit enough. He's come in with a couple of injuries, so it's going to be the other side of the international break. He's out. Another centre-half is Aguerd. He's suspended again after sending off last week. So 2 centre-halves down, so probably Ogbonna coming in. Centre-half.
Okay, so yeah, not ideal. You would imagine that you want them in full full bill of health rather for this Brighton clash. Burnley against Aston Villa. This is one of the press conferences I don't have information on Burnley, so let's go with Aston Villa first. Another surprise as well. They're now in Europe, so we're going to start to see a bit of rotation, perhaps, and certainly some early substitutions. We're already starting to see Watkins come off the pitch in certain league games a little bit earlier. But yeah, what news from Villa?
They have got a fresh concern, and it's Emi Martinez, who came off at half-time against Hibs on Wednesday in a Conference League qualifier. He complained of discomfort in his calf, so he was taken off as a precaution, but he has missed training today. They do have until Sunday to recover, so he's going to be assessed later on. Apart from him, they've got obviously quite a lengthy injury list already. Coutinho joined that last weekend, hamstring. Mings, of course, Buendia, Ramsey, they're all out still. Moreno is nearing a return. Dina owners, he's thinking about revisiting him. He's nearing a comeback, is Alex Moreno. They have got a couple of other red flags as well, Den Bonker amongst them, but they are very much fringe players anyway, so I don't think anyone's FPL plans are.
Okay, and Burnley, has the press conference happened? What's happening there?
Yeah, we believe so, yeah, because we've seen quotes from company on the transfer market, etc. Potential incomings and ones they've already bought. Aaron Ramsey, of course, from Villa. But nothing on the team news front. This is becoming a recurring theme with Burnley. They're quite hard to get hold of, these pressers.
Okay.
I will check YouTube later in the day. Well, I haven't got much time left, but as soon as I can, see if company's press comments has landed, because there's no reportage on it so far in terms of injuries. We're not aware of too many. Obafemi was out the last we heard, and Zahouri as well is suspended after that red card in game week 1. But anything fresh, we're not aware of.
Okay, let's move on to Sheffield United, who are hosting. They have the unfortunate task of hosting Manchester City. Lots of interest in their troops, understandably. The home side first, Sheffield United. How are they for this? And will Cameron Archer, who's just signed for them, be able to play?
He won't in this one. No, he's not been signed in time to play in this game. But Heckingbottom's pretty much been talking about him as a Sheffield United player, so the deal is pretty much done and dusted. So we'll see him from game week 5. He's on game week 4. Sorry, he's on my bench, ready and waiting for those.
Okay, yeah, mine too.
60 minutes. Yeah, not that I'll play him most weeks, but anyway, it's nice to have a playing forward as a 4.5 option. So he's not going to feature. Neither is Max Lowe, who's going to be out for some time. A left wing back, he'll be out for a while. Baldock, who was a lot of managers' 4 million defender, as he's one of mine. He's resumed training this week. He missed out in game week 2 with a minor calf injury. He's back in training, as is McBurney. Apart from that, they've got an absolute whole host of absentees, which I won't bore you with. Check on the Fantasy Football Scout site for full details, but none of them will be interesting to FPL managers.
Okay, they are of interest though. On the flip side, as in you want to know who they're facing and get players in, perhaps attackers, to take on Sheffield United, especially if they're looking a bit frail. But yeah, what's happening at Man City? There could be rotation. More bodies are back in midfield, perhaps.
One body's back, and they've got another fresh one through the door. Yeah, Pep's red flagged. He's recovering from back surgery, so he wasn't taking the conference today. It was his assistant, and he confirmed that Bernardo is trained this week after illness. So that is one body return, and someone who can play on the right wing where Foden has been playing, someone who can play in the middle, in place of Kovacic or in place perhaps of Alvarez in certain games. They've also got Jeremy Doku through the door as well. So he didn't quite give him like the full green light for playing this weekend, but he said he's been had a full pre-season and has been in action in France. So he might well be amongst the substitutes this weekend.
Okay, I like the quote from the Man City camp, because Pep Guardiola is not there at the moment. He's got a back problem. So, but he's I can't remember who it was. Can't remember the name of the who's filling in for him for Man City. But he was saying that Pep Guardiola is going to be in contact. He says the contact is continuous. Telephone, video call, everything. I'm sure he didn't say it like that, but it sounds like that. It's like your boss is like, yeah, you been in touch with your boss been in touch with you? Oh yeah, the contact is continuous. Telephone.
I think he basically said he was omnipresent as well, didn't he? He was everywhere.
Oh my God,
Pep is everywhere.
Everywhere at his house, and so yeah, Pep Guardiola is definitely there. Poor guy. Newcastle against Liverpool. This is the final match, and this is the sort of big Sunday match, really. So yeah, I mean, Newcastle on the up, your side, and Liverpool perhaps could be without one of their star players. Let's go with Newcastle first. What's happening there?
Yeah, good news for Newcastle. Joe Linton's been past fit. He took a knock last weekend against Man City. Much like Madison wasn't in training at the start of this week, but has since trained. It's pretty good otherwise. It's only really Willock and Kraft who are out.
Okay.
Lewis Hall's in contention. He's lacking a bit of match fitness, so I think he'll be on the bench. And Mankey was back in training today, so not really much on the injury front for Newcastle. And the usual selection dilemma up top.
Okay, and as for Liverpool, lots of talk that Salah might be off. Did Klopp have anything to say about that?
Yeah, he was pouring cold water on that. I mean, again, I don't know what happens when someone comes in with a £200 million bid for him, and are they that keen on keeping him age 31 with 2 years left on his contract? But for now, he's very much a Liverpool player. Klopp said there's nothing to talk about. There's no offer. He's 100% committed. And if there was something, the answer would be no. So he's really trying to deter interest in Salah.
Yeah.
Injury-wise, Alexander-Arnold's fine. He came off last week with a knock. McAllister's free to play as well. He's had his ban overturned after his red card last weekend.
Okay.
So there's only Thiago and Curtis Jones who are out. They're both back next week.
Okay.
Kanani is a doubt, though. He's a fresh concern with a muscular issue. He's quite important because he's covers Trent a lot, I think, when Trent does his little wanders into midfield. So I haven't seen Matip in pre-season. I think it was against Bayern, was it? When they got absolutely butchered down that right flank. My hopes are high for Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon.
Okay.
Whoever gets the nod. But I'm sure Klopp will have a plan up his sleeve. They might even go to a normal back four to try and quell that threat.
Quite a few more people have joined us in the live chat, getting on for 1,700 of you. Thank you. Do remember, press that like button. Lots of people in the live chats urging people to press that like button, and I will continue that. Please do press that like button. And obviously remember to subscribe if you're not already. Lots of questions, people joining us, asking questions about players like Madison, etc. What's the news? Well, luckily, I've got a nice team news roundup. So I can go in and hopefully reveal some of those things there. So fit to play, Palhinha in Fulham. Whether he plays or not is another matter, but fit to play. Joe Ellington at Newcastle, fit to play. Alexander-Arnold as well. Jesus at Arsenal, that's the big one, fit to play. Whether he starts or not, another matter, but he is ready to go. That was the exact quote. Bernardo Silva at Manchester City. That might muddy the waters slightly on who's going to start, but you would imagine after last week's performance, Foden will get the nod. there. James Madison is actually fit to play. He's sort of in between fit to play and questionable. He's fit to play,
Yeah.
ready to go, but he might not start. He may come on. He might start. Who knows?
Yeah, Postecoglou stopped short of saying he was completely fit to play. He said he thinks he is, and he's going to have to assess him. But yeah, I think there's an element of doubt to make it slightly questionable.
Yeah, so he's like slightly questionable. He's in the middle of that. And Zaniola is ready to go as well for Villa. Questionable Brozier, Willian Canate, and Emi Martinez could be out for Villa. With a calf issue. Højlund, I put in as a major doubt, but even though he's back in training, it's very, very unlikely. He's pretty much been confirmed out. But we've been here before. Players have been confirmed out by managers, and if they're actually fit, you never know. You never know. So I put him in a he's sort of major doubt to out. More on the outside, but as you can see, the out column's absolutely chock-a-block, so that's part of my rationale for moving him in. Calvert-Lewin understandably is out, just put injury always. Iwobi is also out there, and Harrison, he's got fitness, he's not ready. Chukwuemeka, he's got knee issues. Tim Ream is suspended. That could be a problem there for Fulham. Willock with his hamstring. Mudryk and is out as well for Chelsea. Well, it's only a few days, so we expect to see him back soon, but out for this clash. Mason Mount and Luke Shaw are injuries for Manchester United. So if you've got them, particularly with Luke Shaw, you might want to be looking to make a move there. Lots of questions in the chat about that. Lots of interest in Man City defenders. I myself might go for Diaz, by the way. Nathan Ferguson. I've just put, does he exist? I don't even know anymore. But nevertheless, he is a Crystal Palace player. And there we go. Will he play? No. But is he there? Who knows? And Ciso, that is a big injury there. So he's going to be out for quite an extended period. That we'll see him again this year. Ben Mee for Brentford, he is injured. He's going to miss this one. And West Ham's new defender, he's got fitness problems, so he won't play. I say fitness problems as in he's just not fit enough to play, but should be there soon. Hopefully we've got lots covered there. There was quite a few came in. I couldn't manage to squeeze onto this and get it up on the screen in time there. And of course we don't have the Burnley news yet, so do keep up to date with all of this on the pages of Fantasy Football Scout. We've got the team news section that you do, Neale. We've got the predicted lineups there as well. Do have a look at that, and also have a look at Fantasy Football Scout on X. I almost said Twitter, X, with all the latest there when we get that news in as well. Thanks everyone for joining us. And good luck with your game weeks. Neale, good luck with your game week as well. It's another Friday night deadline, so it's only in a few hours. So special good luck. And let's hope there's no annoying team leaks. Okay, take care. See you soon.
Bye-bye.